Bless you. Boom. What's going on, Wise Take Nation? Welcome to the 2018 NFL DFS podcast. I am your host, Paulie D, and I'm joined by the man making the comeback to the DFS industry, the one and only Joe B. Audie Bolton. Patio Joe, everyone. What's going on, Joe? I'm so pumped.
How you doing, Paulie? I'm doing well. I am back for football season. Guys, I was here for a little bit of baseball season, and I tried and I just couldn't keep up. Those darn Twins.
How is it going with the Twins?
It's going well. I mean, they are right now. They are 5 months, and they are sleeping through the night. Hopefully, and when they wake up, they kind of soothe themselves back to sleep. So things are going well. They're growing, so I'm excited to just be back talking some football for the next, half an hour, wherever we're here, talking a little DFS, getting ready for the season. And one thing I'll say this, Wise Take Nation, when you get with me and Paulie, you get 100% authenticity.
Authentication. You know it.
All right.
We are back.
We are back.
We are getting Doug back.
Yes. But everybody, Nation, this is going to be Thursday nights. Me and Paulie, going to be Thursday nights going over the NFL slate. We'll probably have a third member in here at some times, but it'll be me and Paulie starting now until the end of the season, going over the week's games. We'll have a little bit of week one preview today, but we're going to be here the whole season.
It's going to be our first look show. The entire nation is jacked up that football is here. We're going to be adding a whole bunch of content this year. We brought on a bunch of new analysts that are going to be putting out more like research analytical type content to kind of flow into our research process. We are going to add a matchup of the week, like 5 to 10 minute video that should come out on Wednesday. We're going to have a DVOA matchups article come out on Tuesday to kind of start the process and put us, show us where some of like the best mismatches are on the slate. Thursday night, it'll be me and Joey and whoever dares to come on. And that'll be like our first look for the weekend slate. And then Saturday nights, it looks like Saturday, like early evening, we will have the wide stream. And on top of that, we're going to have the expert poll and articles from most of our experts. So should be a good season. Baseball was a huge success this year. Really, really proud of a lot of our members. We had just a ton of guys really elevate their game, and it's really a rewarding feeling when multiple people have this same story of I didn't even play baseball, but I just wanted to play DFS, and you guys showed me a whole nother world of how to research it, and my game really improved. People you did not think were going to become consistent winners really did, and that's awesome. And I think football is going to be similar. Football is really becoming more and more analytical, and the people that put the work in are going to reap the benefits.
Well, yeah, when I was in twin hell under a pile of shit changing diapers, there'd be times I didn't get to play that much, but the times that I did play, I would always text you, yeah, catch. And it was, a lot of the times I was doing just what the members were doing. I was going to the profiling, earlier, and I was just looking at that, and then I was doing exactly what CK was doing, teaching the members, and if you get your process down, that's when the result starts happening, guys. I'm telling you, that's when it starts happening.
So, let's talk about NFL DFS to start. Obviously there's cash games and there's GPPs. And like, you know, if you're not playing cash games, you're just making a big mistake. You know, regardless of how you want to build your teams, if it's a tournament team, but you put it into cash games to have the lower line, or you want to build an actual cash, very safe, conservative type team, and then build other GPP teams to have like two different types of exposures. But you need to be putting the bulk of your money into contests that pay 30% of the field, 50% of the field, instead of 20, 18, 10. You know, it's just simple math. And like, it took me a long time to really understand that. You know what I mean? And like, I just always put all my money to tournaments, and it's like so many nights. Like, I just missed min cashing in GPPs where, you know, if I had 60, 70, 80% of my money in cash games, I would have still won money that night. So it's like, you know, you have to play cash games. And I really think in NFL, like, the head-to-heads are crucial. You know, like, you make sure you put a cap on how many guys, like one individual player, can pick up of your games. You want to have like a diverse portfolio of guys you're taking on. And you will see like certain guys like on DraftKings that you play heads up won't even break like a 60 some weeks, you know. And then as long as you put together a team that can score, what do you think, like 130, 120 points is safe to cash in most cash games?
On FanDuel, yeah, 125, 130. You want like, I think it's only like, they give you, how much they give you on FanDuel? 35 or is it 50?
I think it's 50 on both sites.
It's 50. Yeah, it's in baseball. I know they give you 35. So no, it's 60.
60 on FanDuel.
Yeah, so you want probably at least 2x. You know, on FanDuel, you at least want 120 to 150. I think to give you 60,000 in cash games. So cash games, you're just going to try and go for the most optimal lineup, the most safest plays. You're going to go where the herd is going. You're going to know Le'Veon Bell is facing the worst run defense in the league. Everybody's going to be playing them. So everybody plays him, and then you're going to have to differentiate somewhere else.
So let's talk about that for a minute. The block, as we call it in the industry, following the herd. Like, how much do you, focus on ownership and want to be following the herd? And if so, why? And like, or do you focus on putting in the best possible play that you think is the best play?
For cash games, I'm not caring really much what ownership level is and following the herd. And when you want to go to tournaments, that's where you got to differentiate. That's where you got to find the diamond in the rough. That's where you got to go for the wide receiver, the third wide receiver on that team, when everybody's going for wide receiver 1 and 2. That's where, wide receiver cornerback matchups are so crucial in DFS. And that gives you such a leg up, especially even in cash games. If you can find that really cheap receiver who has that just pearl matchup, week one to me, I like Sterling Shepard. He has one of the easiest matchups he's going to be having this year. So I like him.
Against Jacksonville?
Yeah, he's going to be going up against DJ Hayden, and it's going to be easy. So, I mean, he's not going to be getting the Jalen Ramsey treatment. He's not going to be getting that. So another guy's like, Marquise Goodwin week 1. They have these easy matchups. Jamison Crowder, they're easy and then they're cheap. So you in cash, you're going to want to go with the herd with the high price guys. And then you're going to want to go get that value running back and receiver, because you won't be able to fit those high price guys if you can't find those.
And like, to just like explain that, basically, like if Tom Brady is going to be 60, 70% owned and you fade that and you go grab, a, lower cost, higher risk kind of player, and that guy busts and gets 10 points and the rest of the 70% of the field gets a 30 with Tom Brady, you're not going to recover from that. So in cash games, like, following the herd is just a way to kind of protect yourself and keep yourself close enough to that 50% line, because not everyone is doing that. Just a lot of the sharper players do. And, at the key positions, you just kind of like want to be aware of ownership. And, if you're going to make a pivot, it can't be to something like way riskier. It could be like a lateral pivot, like instead of Tom Brady, you go to Aaron Rodgers in a nut spot, because it opens up $200 or something. But you kind of want to have your team in a position to not have like a ton of risk or exposure to the downside. And if a guy is 70% owned, it doesn't really matter how good or bad he does. You're just like, you're safe at that position and you just need to win another one. But the key position, like running back one, quarterback, and like wide receiver one, you don't want to be taking a huge gamble because that's how you can lose a lot of money in cash. That's what tournaments are for.
How do you think the flex position is going to affect in general for FanDuel?
So, I think that was a great move by FanDuel. Like I had actually stopped playing on FanDuel last year because of that. Like the kicker just added so much variance and took out a lot of the skill of the game. And, I just like so many times I, had major swings because I didn't get that 22-point kicker that other people had. And it just, it was just like another level of variance that you don't really need. So, FanDuel getting rid of the kicker, I think is huge. I think it makes the sites like on a fairly like even playing field now. Like I plan to play both sites for NFL and see where there's pricing discrepancies on guys that I really like, and I may play on one site more than another based on how much I win or how much I like certain price discrepancies. But it definitely levels the playing field between the two sites, and I think makes FanDuel a viable option again for football.
Yeah, I mean, last year I harped on people. If you nailed your kicker and your defense, you were almost like smooth sailing.
Yeah.
The best weeks I had on FanDuel was when I nailed the kicker and the defense. You play Zerline, and it would work, And it's good. There's too much variance. And I think in general, just industry alone, is even on seasonal side, is trying to get kickers out of the game. It's just there's too much variance.
Yep. And, I'll tell you, like I did a whole lot of research on just weeks 1 through 4 of the last season, what was winning tournaments, what wasn't, the types of builds. And I just did to week 4 because that's like a pivotal point in the season where the buys start and the slates start to change size. That's when you have like a quarter of the season sample size to start making decisions based on what you've seen, not based on last year. And, the defense is still extremely key. And it's probably the most under-researched position in NFL DFS. And, we plan to pretty much dedicate like one guy to just researching defense, for our team this year, and hope that, by putting too much focus on it, it can give us that leg up. Because that was one of the things that stood out, that like there was, X team or two teams that put up 20 to 30 points, and every single winning team had that defense. Very rarely did they have a different defense. So it's like so vital to nail that defense. And tonight is a good example. Like the Bears were kind of chalky, the Ravens were kind of chalky, and they both did well. But I had the Saints on one of my teams, and they went off. They had a shutout. They had a defensive touchdown, multiple turnovers. They put up 32, and that's, essentially the difference in me cashing deep tonight and just like an average cash. Like I told you before the show, and actually I just got a touchdown, but I was in like 42nd place out of like 22,000. I'm in 16th place now out of 22,000, and that Saints defense was, my big scorer. So nailing that defense is so clutch.
How what was their ownership percentage?
The Saints, 7%.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, it was a 16-game preseason slate. Like, it was just madness. It was the worst, most annoying research I've ever done in anything in DFS, and I'm never doing it again. It's just a nightmare. But
and the one of the things that you'll never get 16-game slates in either sites. You're in FanDuel, they like to rape you every little bit. They'll cut you off in the afternoon. They don't even play the Sunday night game. So, which, neither here nor there. They do offer it. So if you do want to play all day Sunday, you can. They're just not the big tournaments.
Yeah, and that's like the next thing I wanted to talk about. Like, did you see how many tournaments there are over 100K prize pools? Like, it's just like insane the size of the tournaments compared to baseball.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're going at it for week one, but I mean, guys, I'll tell you this: if you're a new player out there, if you want to put, we're going to do a Atlanta pill, and I'm going to throw in a $9, into the millions. Guys, I'm telling you, it's a hope and a prayer. It's that you probably have a better chance winning the lottery, and there's that many entrants. But I'm a big believer in contest selection, and I'm gonna we can go through where if I was where am I going to be attacking tournaments, because I think that's what I learned most this year in baseball, that you can transfer over just what tournaments fit me best. And where you can attack, where you're not going to be going up against 529,000 entries, okay, or 74,000 entries. You're just not. I don't think that you should play that way. And we do have people that do, and you can do the multi-entries, and that's the type of player you are. And that's another thing I preach, is the type of player what you want to be. You have to ask yourself what your goal is. So when you're playing DFS, this is the way I want to attack it. So I know I'm not going to go for those multi-entries. It's just not going to work. Maybe week one just for fun, but that's like playing the lottery. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'm going to go the $25 entry,
I totally agree. Like, the milli makers, all those crazy large fields, like a very small portion of my total spend that week are going to go into those tournaments. Because number one, like, I don't have the bankroll to put 150 lineups in the milli maker, $20 a pop. I could do it for a few weeks, but if I don't get a return on my investment, if I go cold for a couple weeks, it'll just ruin my season. And I do believe that the MME approach is something that you want to evolve into, and like long term, that's how you can have a lot of big wins. But you don't just start doing that overnight. You got to really build up a bankroll that's 10, 15, 20x what it'll cost you for a full season to do MME, so that if you do go cold, it doesn't just take you out of the game, because DFS is all about staying in the game. But I never want to be in contests where multiple people have 150 lineups and I just have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just, like you said, it's like a scratch off. And that's really like how I treat those. It's like, I might make 4, 5, 6, main lineups in NFL. And each one of those will get, out of the 5, 7, 8, 10 tournaments that I enter each team into, 1 or 2 of those entries will be donkey type tournaments. The rest is all small field and cash game type tournaments, because I'm trying to make a living off of DFS. Like, I need to withdraw money each week, and you're not going to grind out profits in those type of top heavy tournaments. And contest selection is probably the number one most important thing to being successful in DFS, in my opinion.
People overlook it. I mean, just for week one, looking on FanDuel, guys, just for week one, contests that I would look at, they got three $25, 235 people. Okay, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna be rich on that. But you know what? It makes you feel pretty good when you cash.
What was the tournament?
It's 235 people, and there's $25.
$25 buy-in. And what's up top? 1,000.
Let's see. $750.
And how much of the field min cash?
46 places.
46. So exactly 20% of the field is getting paid. That's like the bare minimum. I don't want to enter any contests that are paying less than 20% of the field.
And then there's another ones, like if I wanted to go up higher, I would go. There's a $50 entries with 1,300 people. That's about maybe as much as I feel comfortable. Or
is that a single entry?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's a single entry. First place gets 8,000 on that. Like that's something you can win.
Yep.
You know what? I'd be more than happy with 8,000 on that, guy. So you just
of course. And but if you're gonna do that, you have to have that same lineup in $25 to $75 in cash games and head-to-heads.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're hedging that $50 that that's only going to cash in 20% with more money that's going to cash in 50%. And you'll see a lot of the times you don't cash the GPP, but the cash games do. And it allows you to keep rolling that money over instead of losing it and redepositing. But enough on bankroll management. Let's start talking about the actual NFL and players and changes and teams we're excited about. I'm a Giants fan. What do you think about the Giants this year? Do you think it's going to be another disaster and we get the top 3 pick in the draft? Or do you think we have an opportunity to maybe be this year's Philadelphia Eagles?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think that you're going to be that. I think that the offensive line is the most important thing on that team. If they can protect Eli, there's so many weapons that he's going to have at his disposal.
Yep.
With Saquon, Odell, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, you might be looking at Eli as just a value play a week if they're going against good offenses, good defenses. I mean, I think that they can finish second in the NFC East this year. That's about as high as I see them. I don't see them. I see them being better than the Redskins and better than the Cowboys. But the Eagles are going to start slow, but they're going to come up. And
yeah, I agree. Like even in the years the Giants did win the Super Bowl, it was always as a wild card. Like I don't think we're going to turn around and go from second worst team in the league to winning our division and home field throughout. But I do think like if we stay healthy and we gel, like we have new personnel all over the place, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, like it's going to take a little time to get all systems running, but they do have a ton of talent on offense, and I think they're going to be very DFS relevant. Your favorite team, San Diego Chargers.
Los Angeles
Chargers. That's right. Do they get over the hump this year and make a deep run, or do they fall apart like they have for like the last 10 years?
That's the one thing. I mean, once again, they're like the posh pick that people seem to every year going into it. Oh, this is going to be the Chargers year, because you see on paper, you see all that talent, and they just seem to just F it up every single year. So
they have had a couple key injuries.
Oh yeah, I mean even this year, Hunter Henry doesn't even he tears his ACL in OTAs, and they're already in the hole.
And one of your starting cornerbacks is injured, right?
Jason Verrett, he cannot stay healthy either. So they have the best quarterback in the division. They have the best running back, debatably, in the division. They have the best receiver in the division. They have the two best. Getting after the quarterbacks. Maybe Khalil Mack. I mean, both Ingram
isn't
Khalil Mack not
playing as of right now.
And they have the best cornerback in the division. So they if they had a kicker last year, they would have made the playoffs. They should have made the playoffs. There was a stupid there was weird tie-breaking rules. It was just really weird the way that they got asked out. So the Bills, they tied with the Bills with the same record. The Bills made the playoffs and they beat the Bills by 50.
Yeah.
So that's just the way the NFL works. But they did it to themselves. They should win the division. And it's all about, can you go into Foxborough or into Pittsburgh in January and win? That's it. And that's been Rivers' Achilles heel his whole career. They've had chances to go into both places during the playoffs, and they've lost both times. I mean, one time he had a torn ACL, and the other time they were just totally outclassed by the Steelers. So but that's what I think. The Chargers have a chance, just like every year. It's just a matter of staying healthy and getting all 3 phases to be good, because that kicker needs to He's gonna have to. You know, they signed. You know, who's gonna win the job, right?
Robert Aguayo.
Robert Aguayo. Yeah, he just kicked the game-winning field goal tonight too. So
I saw that. Yeah.
He's gonna win the job, and it's like, yeah, the talent's there. So hopefully the kid's mind is there.
Yeah. But both those teams have some extremely DFS relevant players. I think they're very similar, where they have veteran quarterbacks, they have super talented wide receiver ones, they have Saquon's not proven, but seems to be a guy that's going to be an RB1 that's going to have a lot of big games, just like Gordon. And the Chargers have a better defense than the Giants, but we also have some talent on defense, and in the right spots, they're going to be pretty valuable. Like Keenan Allen was probably a top 7 receiver in DFS last year. Melvin Gordon was up there in running backs, so both those teams are going to be interesting. What are some other, teams that you are looking at to kind of surprise or improve this year, or players that changed homes and their impact?
Well, I mean, everybody's I guess everybody seems to be on the Bears bandwagon this year, that they're going to make a big jump. They got the new coach, Nagy.
Yep, they got Nagy.
They got Jordan Howard, you're going to love. They got Allen Robinson coming over to see if he's healthy. And then they got this rookie that everybody's loving and everybody's been talking about, Anthony Miller. They're saying no, he's a receiver. And the comparison in the Anthony Miller draws is Odell Beckham. That's what people are comparing him to. That's how good this kid is. And he's going to be their number 2 receiver.
Not Kevin White?
No, Kevin White. No,
finally got a touchdown in the preseason.
I know. This guy was so good, they sat him the 3rd preseason game. They sat everybody. That's how good this kid is. Obviously, the Saints are just going to be a team you're going to want to play all year with Kamara, and when Ingram comes back. Breeze is always good. I think Breeze is going to throw more touchdowns this year than he was last year, and Michael Thomas is always good. And then, you can always play the Steelers. They're just going to be gold all the time.
So Juju Schuster, I think, is going to be a massive value weapon in DFS early this year.
Definitely, I could see it. I mean, everybody's going to be going to Bell and Brown.
Yeah, and those guys are obviously great too. But Pittsburgh scores enough to include a third person. They haven't had a tight end in a long time, and he's their third option now.
Mm-hmm. What about the Cleveland Browns? Everybody in there would love to talk about the Cleveland Browns, and I'm just like, you know what? I've heard this song and dance so many times before.
Did you watch Hard Knocks?
No.
Because, I think that's part of getting buzz about this team. But I've been really impressed with the Cleveland Browns. I think the rookie quarterback, his name escapes me right now.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. I think he's a very, very smart and poised kid, and, may not be great right away, but I think that he is a drastic improvement from what they've had at that position over the last few years. And I think that they have a good coaching staff in place, and they had a good nucleus. They had a good O-line last year and a pretty quietly solid run defense. And they went out and made a lot of additions. And I just think that this team is trending in the right direction. I think that they will be improved, but they're not a playoff team just yet. And I don't even think they get above 500. But I think 4 to 6 wins is definitely in the realm of possible outcomes. And in terms of DFS, Njoku is a guy that I think has a lot of potential to do well this year. Tight end with Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm. Are you buying the Josh Gordon juice? Because I am 100% not.
100%. I'm more interested in Jarvis Landry, to be honest with you, than Josh Gordon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
I think he's super talented, and he's a slot receiver that will also give Mayfield some, check down, and he's a guy who can go out and catch 10 balls and then catch a short screen, take it to the house, but he moves the chains if the run game can't.
Well, I also think in the beginning of the year, even before Mayfield takes over, they're having Tyrod's going to start for the first few weeks. And Tyrod Taylor does not throw the ball downfield. He doesn't throw interceptions. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to be peppering Landry all day.
Yep.
He's not going to want to go downfield that much. That's just not his game. Other teams, what's your like the Houston Texans? Obviously, Deshaun Watson tore his ACL. He was blowing up the fantasy world before then. I mean, can he repeat it? Are you on it? And to me, I feel like if you're going to be playing Watson, you have to pair him with either Fuller and Hopkins or both. Mm-hmm. I just all the time. Because I think Fuller is attached at the hip to Watson. That's
I completely agree. I know Fuller's got a slight injury. Mm-hmm. May be hampered in the early season, but once he's healthy, he is a super talented wide receiver number 2, and Hopkins is in the conversation in the top 3 receivers in football. And I completely agree. In NFL DFS, to win tournaments, you have to stack and take advantage of correlation. And, when Deshaun Watson and, whether they're playing from in front, because Bill O'Brien comes from the Belichick school and, he never takes his foot off the gas, or if they're coming from behind, they will do a lot of it with Watson's arm and or legs. But, he just has a tremendous arm, and we saw it last year. And, they took Houston from, essentially a dead offense to a super dynamic one just with Watson. I am hesitant to use him early in the year because I just think it's been so long since he's played at this level. It's going to take some time, and I think he's going to be a little popular, especially week 1. But I completely agree. If you're playing him, and really any quarterback, I am done with the naked quarterback concept. I will never do that again. In cash maybe, but in tournaments, that's just, it's a no-no. There's you have to find the right stack, and sometimes it's a triple stack. Usually it was more than just a quarterback and a receiver combo. And the game is now evolved to where a lot of running back ones are the number 1 receiver or number 2 receiver on the team, and you can most certainly stack running backs with quarterbacks if they're involved in the pass game.
Yeah, and for you seasonal guys, I'm telling you this: if you draft Deshaun Watson, make sure you get Will Fuller. That's all I'm saying. Just make sure you get Will Fuller and always play him if he's playing. That's if you want to draft Watson. I don't because I wait on quarterbacks. But that's just my 2 cents for seasonal. Other offenses that I like that I think are I love this offense as a great cash game offense. It's the Detroit Lions. All they do is pass. They don't really have a running back that you can really count on. They're not going to run the ball very much when it comes to running touchdowns. We'll see how Kerryon Johnson is. Right now, we'll see. So they got Stafford that's just going to throw, and he's just going to keep throwing, and he'll throw it 60 times a game, and they'll be fine with that. And that's why I love playing Stafford and cash a lot. He's very safe, very safe.
Which one of his pass catchers do you?
I probably prefer on DK, definitely Golden Tate. And then on FanDuel, Marvin Jones, just because he gets peppered more with targets. Don't buy the hype that you see. Kenny Galladay's running out of the 2 wide receiver set instead of Golden Tate. Just remember also the Detroit Lions run 2 wide receiver set, the second least most in the NFL. They don't run 2 wide receiver sets.
Second least most.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I've had a lot. It's late. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, 31st or whatever, 31st out of 32 teams or whatever. They just don't run two wide receiver sets that often. You don't have to worry about it.
Replace Ebron with? Do they have a tight end for him?
No, I thought that they were going to sign Antonio Gates, to be honest with you. I thought, it was an easy fit, but I did not see who they signed as their tight end. It's nobody good if they did. But that's the Monday slate anyways.
Yeah, it is. So a team that I think has been, extremely buzzy this year is the Tennessee Titans, as everyone's like, sleeper darling team. They did go into the playoffs and have that incredible kind of comeback win against the Chiefs in the first round. And then they got smoked in the second. But what's your thoughts on the Titans?
Well, the thoughts on the Titans is that I want to see how the backfield is going to shake out. Like, I think that Dion Lewis is going to have a role no matter what. So I think that's going to cap Derrick Henry's kind of ceiling. You're going to hope for him to break one or for them to win games to just ride it out. I think that Mariota is pretty good because he can use both his legs and he throws. And Delanie Walker is probably one of the safest tight ends to use, especially in cash. I think he's great just because he's just so safe. He's always involved in the offense. But I'm not as I want to see Corey Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I know other people are higher on him. I haven't seen anything to really make me believe in him. So we'll see. And we'll see if they can make that new step. I mean, this is the second year now of Mariota coming off of his torn ACL. Mm-hmm. So let's see how he can make that jump. I think they're definitely a team that is going to sneak up on people. They're not like a flashy team, mm-hmm. but they're going to get it done.
Yeah, I think Dion Lewis was one of the more underrated running backs last year, and I think they're going to have a split, and it's going to devalue both of those guys a little bit in DFS, unfortunately. Derrick Henry is going to be like the clear goal line guy, and, it'll be kind of like the Minnesota situation last year where you had McKinnon, for like the pass game and some of the screen game and, like the big burst plays, and then you had what's his name?
Murray.
Latavius Murray as like your goal line grind out runner, and that in DFS, that's not the ideal situation, but that's what they did last year with DeMarco Murray. And I think that's, kind of what their approach is going to be. And I'm with you. I think they're going to be decent, but I don't think that they really made enough changes. They did get Brian Arakpo on defense and Malcolm Butler, but they did lose a couple wide receivers. Delanie Walker's a year older. I got to see. They do have a solid offensive line, though, and that does make a big difference. But very, very young receiving core. Taywan Taylor, Corey Davis, Tarjay Sharp, and Rashard Matthews if he comes back from injury. And, that's just not a very dynamic receiving core just yet. They might become that, but I'm a little bit more wait and see on them. Couple more teams I want to ask you about, then we'll move on. The Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you think about them? Another year kind of playing with each other, some experience for some of those young guys.
They're the team I want to see now because now they have the X on their chest. Mm-hmm. They're no longer the up and coming team. They've arrived now.
Yep.
They beat the Steelers. They literally smacked the Steelers in their mouth in Pittsburgh last year. And they should have won that game in New England. There was some freaky plays that happened at the end of that game that make weird stuff happens and things happen in New England. So I think that they can make the jump. I think that Leonard Fournette is going to be leaned on even more this year, especially because of Marquise Lee. They got Keelan Cole. They got Dede Westbrook. And, there's not much. There's not much. What's up? And Moncrief, yeah. There's just not much there. And I just think that they're going to try and win like they did last year, not put it in Bortles' hands. defensively and just run the ball. That's why I think Fournette will probably lead the league in touches this year. I think that's if I had to guess.
If he stays healthy, because
if he stays
missed
healthy.
a bunch of games last year, just like kind of random in spots. San Francisco, they won their last 5 games after acquiring Garoppolo, and there's, certainly some optimism around that team. What do you think about the San Francisco 49ers?
DFS-wise, you are going to get, like, a lot of options from them. You really are. If you think about it, you're going to want to play Garoppolo a lot. You're going to want to play him. You just are. And then you're going to want to play Garcon. He's been in Brian Schottenheimer's offense for years. Back in Washington, he knows the offense, so he's going to get a lot of targets. He's like your DraftKings PPR guy. And then there's the connection that they've been talking about, Marquise Goodwin. They really, really love the connection that Garoppolo and Goodwin have formed, the chemistry that they formed. And then on the tight end front, as long as he's healthy, George Kittle, he came up last year.
Yep.
And then running back, Jerick McKinnon switched teams. Now he's there, and everybody. I don't think he can be the bell cow back. I think he's gonna have to get a help from somebody.
Yep.
But he's gonna be very, very valuable too. So you have an offense that you're gonna want to play in a good matchup, probably every week in DFS. I'm staying away from them week 1. Not when they go into Minnesota. But most weeks, I'm gonna want you want to look at that offense because they're gonna put up points.
Yeah, I mean they put up points on Jacksonville last year. Like, it was really impressive in my opinion.
And here's the thing: they have a defense that isn't shut down, so you know that their defense is going to be giving up points.
Yep.
So you're going to want, and that's the key in DFS is knowing like how long you're going to have a tennis partner with that's going to be hitting the ball back to you in so many ways. There's so many times a team gets up by 28 points, like, and then you get nothing from them the rest of the game, and you just see your lead that you had at the beginning. You're up at the top, and then you're just like, I'm not even cashing now.
Yeah. Marquise Goodwin, I rode a lot at the end of the season, and he was always underpriced. And he basically caught a touchdown per game. And, he's by far their, biggest upside threat on offense. And, Garoppolo really showed that he's got it. And I think the Patriots made a mistake there. I don't even recall what they got for him. I think it was like a second-round pick. But, I don't know how much more time Tom Brady has, but this guy's going to be good for a long time.
Yeah, the Niners played the Colts yesterday, and Brissett and Garoppolo took a picture together with each other's jerseys because they were both on the Patriots to start the year last year. They moved.
All right, one last team. Yeah, one last team I want to ask you about. The I just saw them. Oh, yes. The Colts and Andrew Luck. What do you think about that situation?
I want to see it. I'm gonna wait and see. You know what I mean? I really don't know what to think. You heard things that like he was done. He might not ever come back. So
we also heard that about Peyton Manning when he went to the.
It's true.
Broncos.
No, and it's true. I'm just who do they play week 1? I mean,
Cincinnati. And it might not necessarily be week 1. No, it's home. No. It's home.
Let's see it first. That's the thing, and I think that that really, 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 really encourages, T.Y. Hilton becomes relevant again. The key to that team is finding a running back. They have 3 guys there that they don't know if, who's going to step up. Is it going to be Marlon Mack? Is it going to be Naheem Hines? Is it going to be Jordan Wilkins? Or they even have Christine Michael there.
Right, but they got Turbin too.
Or Turbin.
I think they're going to start with Mack, but, I expect that they have a terrible defense. So, number one, you talked about the tennis partner, like, they're going to have positive game script in their favor for racking up points on the offense, especially from Luck. They added Eric Ebron. They have Jack Doyle, right? That's his name, Jack?
Agent Jack Doyle, yes.
Yep. And
yep.
And then T.Y. Hilton, again, the usage, you can point out exactly where it's going to go. So when Andrew Luck goes off and throws 4 touchdowns, T.Y. Hilton is certainly, have a 75% chance to be involved in that in a big way. So it's just a really easy pairing partner that I think is going to be coming from behind a lot, and especially games in domes. I think that there's going to be some opportunity there. And you say you want to sit back and see it, but once you see it, you're too late, and everybody knows about it. I don't know if the first week is the spot against the Bengals, but it may be.
To me, no, I just need to see his arm. I just want to see how he looks. It's just not even. It's just if I see, oh yeah, you look okay. That's all I need to see. You know what I mean? I haven't really been able to see much of the Colts' preseason at all, and plus preseason, I just don't.
It was so vanilla. You really couldn't tell. But I don't think you put him on a main team. But I think if you build 6 teams and you have 2 of them that are in a lot more money, and then 4 that you just have in a couple things, it might make sense to throw him on one of those. Mm-hmm. They are home. Bengals are not great defensively either. And that guy was super talented before the injury. Mm-hmm. So let's take a sneak peek at the Week 1 slate. We'll build the team together. We'll kind of go through the positions real quick and just talk about some of the guys that we like.
All right. FanDuel? Is that what we do?
That's fine. That's fine.
Nice. All right. Good.
You want to share your screen?
All right.
Everything up?
Sure. Hold on. Let me. Let's get into what do we want to enter? What kind of contest?
It doesn't really matter. This is going to be a GP. Or we could do. Yeah, we'll just do a GPP build for now because we don't really have a pulse on the ownership right now.
Yeah. All right. So let's go. We'll just go with $10. Look at this. There's a good one right here, guys. $10, 588 guys. Winner gets $600. No, 15 entries is the most.
That's not horrible though,
I'm not worried about some shark in that. I can beat a 15 entry. There's not, you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. That doesn't bother me. So, let's see. Where do you like to start when it comes to your lineup build, Paulie? Do you like to start a quarterback and that's where I'm going to work from there, or do you just I have certain plays in my head and I'm going to play them and then we'll start?
So last year on FanDuel, I started with defense and kicker, but now that that's gone, it's more going to be about which stack do I want? Which offense am I going to attack? You know what I mean? And there's a lot in Week 1 that you can consider, but I think it's what quarterback and who am I pairing him with is where I'm going to start the bulk of my lineups. What about you?
I mean, yeah, I could see. I like starting up maybe I like putting in almost the defense that I like to start off with, my ideal defense, and then just put that there, and then as a base point. And then if I have to move off of it, I might. But yeah, I like to see where my favorite place to go is. We spoke before. We spoke before the show, and I said I personally love the Chargers on Week 1 just because the Chiefs' offense is just absolutely terrible, and I think that
their defense.
Yeah, the Chiefs' defense is terrible. So I just think that the Chargers are going to put up a lot of points, and I also think that the Chiefs are going to put up some points too against the Chargers. It's not going to be a full-on dominant display by them. I think it's going to be.
Can you share your screen so we can see their prices? Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs are going to have some success either through the tight end or on the ground, against the Chargers.
Hold on.
It's a little double cube icon.
Did it work?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. There you go. So, pricing is obviously extremely important. You got Tom Brady at the top at 8,600 in the highest total on the board right now against Houston. as of right now, I'm on a complete fade of this game. Like, I did not like what I saw out of the Patriots, like in the preseason. I think they finally kind of showed a little bit of flaw last year. Like you said, they barely snuck out of the Jacksonville game, and the Eagles finally beat them in the Super Bowl. And I think that they have lost a couple pieces that were critical. I don't know like where Gronk's health and mental state is, and like Tom Brady's getting older, and Deion Lewis is a huge loss for them. So I just expect them to start slow, and I'm gonna be fading them in week one. But we'll do like your build, and then we'll do mine. All right?
Here's a quick thing about that game or coming up. Let's not forget last year opening game, KC went into New England and smacked them in the mouth.
Yep. Yes,
like,
they did.
New England is like they start slow defensively.
Absolutely.
There's no Matt Patricia.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Detroit.
Yep.
They're a longtime defensive coordinator. They're in Detroit, so that's another thing. So, obviously, Houston, if you wanted to play Watson, I think he's going to be highly owned now. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's going to be very chalky just because of what he did last year. And, it doesn't take a brain scientist to figure out. But I think that, he's a good play. Like I said, my build right now would be Rivers and Keenan Allen because we have 75 and 8,000. I mean, there's not, and I would probably right now I would want to just lock in the Saints defense just for right now. I think the Ravens are the top defense on the board, but I think they're gonna be so chalky, and I like your Saints.
Let me ask you: are you gonna run it back with anyone from the Chiefs?
Yes.
And who would that be?
I would think it would be, as much as I would Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, even if he's taking Casey Hayward, I think all it takes is one, and in the GPP, that's what you need. You know what I mean? It takes one.
One bomb.
One bomb.
60-yard touchdown, and then he's gonna get other touches.
Mm-hmm. So then that leaves us now. You could also, if you wanted to, go with Travis Kelce, the tight end position, or Melvin Gordon if you thought that their Chargers were going to sit on it and just wanted the ball out. But so we got 6,500. Now, where should we go as running backs with that start of that build? Where would you go now?
So on DK, there's a couple of value guys that I'm really interested in. The Alex Collins, what's his price?
6,700.
6,700. Keep scrolling through this list. I just want to, get an idea of what some of these prices are.
AP is
interesting. Deion Lewis, Devontae Booker. We got to see who ends up winning that situation. Hyde and Duke Johnson is an unknown right now.
Peyton Barber, but you're not going to play him against the Saints D if you're going to have the Saints D. So Peyton Barber's going to get a lot of carries.
Yeah.
Because Ronald Jones has been dog shit. So now we're kind of getting into
you're too low.
So to me, I feel like first look, I like that Alex Collins pick. Like they're gonna be up and they're gonna be running the ball at the end of the game.
Yeah, the Bills were terrible against the run last.
Yeah. So that's good. And then I think I think if you look at a guy like Lamar Miller, he was right underneath him. He has nobody behind him except for Alfred Blue. He lost 20 pounds. He's going to get the volume. He's going to get dump offs. Like I said, I think it's pretty. Even Kenyon Drake right below him too at home against Tennessee. I just don't think that you need to. What are the running backs that you could pay up for?
Definitely
Bell.
Kamara.
Okay, Kamara. I feel like if you were going to pay up for any of those three, maybe David Johnson.
Yeah.
I love Johnson.
David Johnson is extremely interesting. You know, like this team is depleted. They have a dead arm quarterback and, you know, a aging wide receiver that doesn't really stretch the field anymore. Like, if they're losing, it's going to be a ton of dump offs to DJ. If they're winning, it's going to be to D. Like, he might get more usage than 2 years ago, you know?
And I also think, guys, that Fitzgerald is one of the best cash game plays you can have almost every week because he's going to get 10 to 15, almost 20 targets a game. They might be short and small, but hey, you know what? It adds up. So, and if he gets into the end zone, all he needs is one, then it's a huge day. And he will have those days where he will get into the end zone on just, you know, quick wide receiver screens and stuff like that. I personally, if I were picking all those three, I would go for David Johnson at home. I think they're going to feature him. You know, look, he broke his wrist, people.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
it's not that serious.
Like, I think that, and I love Kamara too. I'm the biggest Kamara fan there is.
And there's no what do you call it for the first few weeks?
Ingram. So I think that those are your two things. I think you can safely fade Le'Veon Bell. I just don't even think his workload is there. And the fact that they make him 8,900 is crazy. He shouldn't be that.
So, you know, for me, like, if you have the money, sure, we'd grab a Kamara Johnson. But you don't have a ton right now. Like, I really have interest in Christian McCaffrey right now. Like, he's going to be a DFS darling. You know, like, he showed that breakaway speed with that one run in the preseason. He got, I believe it was like 9 consecutive plays in their first drive between the air and the run game. He's going to accrue points, you know, through the air and on the ground. They got rid of Jonathan Stewart. Like, the backfield is his. At 7,500, you know, if you need the savings, I'm totally fine going there against the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, so let's lock that in. Okay. And then we have 6,100 for another wide receiver, a tight end, and a flex. This is the first time we're going. I mean, obviously, the correlation play, in some ways, I would almost want to maybe go to the Ravens D just because we have Collins, and then usually
I agree. That's a like tried and true correlation that pays off more than not. It's one of the highest actual correlation plays of all like the different combos you can make. A running back one with their defense, and it's all based on game script. Like, if that team is winning, they're gonna sit on the ball. The running back's gonna get more carries. The other team is gonna be coming from behind and taking more risks, and therefore the defense can get more sacks, interceptions, etc.
All right, so tight ends. I mean, for me, like tight ends week one, I'm gonna want to face the team that just loves to give up points to the tight end. So if I can get, you know, a team against the Giants, you know, or the Browns, I think were terrible last year against the tight end. That's who I'm looking for.
So let me just touch on that real quick. The Giants, they were terrible against the tight end last year, but they have a completely different defensive coordinator. They're going to a 4-3 defense. They added, I can't think of his name right now, but a very solid outside linebacker who came out of Georgia. I believe he was on Detroit. I'll pull it up 1 second. But a solid outside running back, outside linebacker. I don't think that they're going to be anywhere near as bad against the tight end as they were last year. It's just a completely different system.
All right. So where are we going then at tight end? Are we going to want to correlate with anybody, or are we going to want to go with Njoku against the Steelers?
I mean, I like Njoku a lot, especially with Tyrod Taylor. Like, he used to love dumping it off to what's his name on the Bills.
My other option would maybe be Charles Clay.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Charles Clay.
Because we have Alex Collins, and on the other side, if Buffalo were to score some points, we do have the Baltimore D, so it's kind of
counter
help out there.
Yeah,
Ben Watson is another option. I think I could see getting a cheap touchdown. He's the only tight end in New Orleans. They have Thomas. They have Kamara. I think that he'll be way low.
Who do the Bears play, and what is Trey Burton's price.
Trey Burton. Not the Bears.
Oh, they might not be on the slate. They're not on the slate.
No.
Yeah, they probably play Monday night. All right. I mean, this is your squad, so
yeah, it's tough. I'm just gonna go with Ben Watson for right now.
All right.
So then that leaves us 66, 50 for wide receiver and flex.
Mm-hmm. And what's your thoughts on the flex? Like, in terms of what position you want to fill the flex with? Receiver, tight end, running back?
I think that hey, I think it's how it's going to work. How I'm going to maybe come around with my stack. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just going to make you want a stack more. You know what I mean? Or make it a more of a stack. Like, I could put, a second. We could always throw in a second Chargers wide receiver like Travis Benjamin, knowing that if he catches one,
I love double stacking. Absolutely.
So if we throw in something like Travis Benjamin at 4,800 at our other wide receiver, that now gives us 8,500 at running back. To me, then what I do is I drop the Ravens, I put in David Johnson, and then I go back down to the Saints D. That's what I would do. What would you think of that?
I think I would go Kamara with the Saints D. If I was doing that, but
okay, no, but then we
hairs.
have enough money then because I think Kamara is only $100 more.
Yeah.
Boom.
I do like this team. We got essentially we're looking for a domination out of the Saints. With Watson, Kamara, and their defense. And then we're looking for the Chiefs to keep it close with the Chargers and for that game to go off. And, for Alex Collins to do his thing and McCaffrey to do his. I like this team a lot.
And, we're in.
You're heavily dependent on, that the Chiefs hanging in there with the Chargers. And I think they will. They have a really dynamic offense.
The Chiefs have beat the Chargers like 8 straight times, guys. So... as good as the Chargers are doing, they could be doing well. Let's see what they do, week one. They get that monkey off their back. And I think they can, but you never know. So, anything else we're gonna do?
No, that's gonna cover it. We'll be back next Thursday.
Going over week one. We'll really know about
week one, exactly. We, in honor of Joe's return to the ring, we are going to drop the NFL package by 25% through Labor Day. So you've got till Monday night at midnight using promo code NFL25. You will get the season-long NFL package for 25% off. And I think that's a pretty awesome deal. We got the Slack chat is a new feature for the guys that were with us last year. We've got the expert poll, which is there's going to be so much new content. I'm not going to go through the list again, but the Slack chat has been a game changer. And the strategy sessions we did for baseball last year, we will have once a week for football. And that was something that users really liked. We basically did our research on camera in front of them. They were able to ask questions, discuss the slate, and then now with the addition of the Slack chat, those conversations just never stop. There's 24/7. You get to interact with the different members of our team, and there's pretty sharp people in the chats themselves that if some of us aren't available, you can get as much information in there as you need. It's a true DFS community. And we are all about trying to help people get better and enjoy DFS and make it a profitable experience. And so far, that is what we have been doing. If you guys are watching us on one of the many, many platforms we are now on, Twitch, Facebook, Podbean, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram.
I think we might even be on MySpace. We're on
Any
Napster
of the
too.
platforms that you are watching us, please do your part and hit that like, share, subscribe button. It really means a lot. It allows us to generate some semblance of revenue from YouTube and allows us to continue to do what we are doing and provide you with entertaining and informative content on DFS Sports. Patio Joe, it has been fun. I'm glad to have you back. I will have a surprise for you next week.
Nice.
Anything you want to say on your way out?
Well, it's good to be back, guys, and I'm going to try and be here, like I said, every Thursday. And then I'm going to try. I'm not going to be on the live stream most Saturdays. I got, like I said, 3 kids. It's not going to be possible unless they happen to be out of the house, and for some reason I'm home. And so probably like what I'm gonna might do is I might put up like a little article or something Saturday night or Sunday right before the lock, just my final thoughts, maybe Patio Joe's deep thoughts on a Saturday night or something like that.
Deep thoughts with Patio Joe.
That's right.
Anyway, man, appreciate you coming on. I'm really pumped to do this show. This is gonna be my Thursday night fun time, and I expect a very, very successful NFL season. So, for Patio Joe, for myself, for the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Good luck.
Peace.
You still here?
I forgot to text.
We got to text. Yeah, he, when I shared my screen, it totally screwed up the buy screen. I've been like half-faced the whole time. If you go to the YouTube, yeah. If you go to YouTube right now, I'm totally.
What, like it froze?
No, there's just basically my screen. There's not you. You probably can still hear us right now. See,
I'm gonna kill this call and then I'll just call you right back because I don't know. We're still in the air, I guess.
Okay, I think we are.